Hello, Sonic fans. Hi, it's me, the bearer of good news. I did a video last month called Bad News for Sonic Fans, and it did pretty well. So let's see if a video talking about positivity for the franchise can do any better. Also, apologize for all the news videos I've been doing lately, but there's just a lot that's been going on. There's a lot to talk about. But some really good news has just come out by Sega, and has also been corroborated by Midori, who's one of the greatest Sonic leakers of all time, especially after the Rumble leaks, about the future of the franchise. And I gotta say, Sonic Frontiers and the Sonic movies have been a big catalyst for all this. The future of Sonic is looking brighter than ever before, and there's some big news about the release window for future Sonic games. We have basically a little roadmap of what to expect. So we're gonna get into everything, but make sure to subscribe to the channel with all notifications. I'll give you a second. And let's get into the big news. So there was a big investor meeting with Sega, and they're talking about the future of Sonic. They're talking about the sales for the IP. They're talking about future game releases and everything like that. So let's dissect, and also we'll talk about what Midori has to say about this as well. So to start with the boring stuff, Tails Channel has said that Sonic has issued a total of 5.9 million unit sales in the fiscal year of 2024, Sega's parent company reports. 870K units moved in Q4, a steady performance despite a comparatively lower figure. You'll also notice that there was record licensing revenue, so the Sonic IP increased more than 10 times from fiscal year 19 to fiscal year 2024. So Sonic sales are actually down a little bit, but compared to where they were 3 years ago, they're still up significantly. So Sega is still pleased with the growth. I mean, they had their mainline Sonic game release back in 2022, so that makes sense. What we're basically comparing is in 2022, we got Frontiers and Sonic Origins, mind you, which I feel like could be a steady, like, evergreen seller. Like, this game will probably never go out of style, versus basically Sonic Superstars. So it makes sense that they had more sales last year. The biggest thing to note here is that Sega is promising aggressive investment and significant growth for the Sonic series. It's part of a new medium-term plan starting in fiscal year 2025. The transmedia strategy will be forefront for Sonic, continuing a trend of the initiatives that began in 2021. So here's what they got for 2024, and we kind of know all this stuff. So you know that Fearless Year of Shadow will be the thing that's going to foster a sense of community. They said that Sonic and Shadow Generations is coming out in the fall. They have Sonic Rumble coming out in winter, so I guess it's going to be coming out after Sonic and Shadow Generation. We got the third Sonic movie, and then we already had Knuckles on Paramount Plus. It seems like they're going pretty hard with Sonic Rumble as well. They have a full-blown Twitter. They got a Discord server. They're going pretty hard with the promotion, and they're also announcing this game super early before release. This game is going to have more time pre-launch than Sonic Superstars did, so it's safe to say that they're really trying to go hard in this game, which is also going to be created in co-part by Rovio. So I think that they're really banking on this game being a big IP grower. Maybe they're looking to catch lightning in a bottle like they did with Sonic Speed Simulator back in 2022, but if they can kind of expand outside of their already core existing demographic, I would imagine that this would lead to even further investment in the Sonic franchise. But the biggest thing to take away is that they're talking about heavy and aggressive investment in the Sonic franchise, which is the thing that I feel like it was lacking. You know, you think about Frontiers, it's kind of one of those games that probably could have used a little bit more time in the oven. Even if you like the game, and I personally think it's one of my favorite 3D Sonic games of all time, like I'm dead serious, I really like the game that much. One of the most often and heard criticisms about this game is the fact that it suffers from a lack of polish. So if you think about heavy and aggressive investment, increasing the budget for the development team, and some other things that we'll talk about later on in this video, it's safe to say that the next mainline Sonic game should be in a much better state. So this is really good news. Like, give the developers more time and more money, and hopefully that's going to prove to be true. Also spurred in part by recent Sonic IP successes, new supporting structures during video game development will be in the cards for Sega as well. Teams were established to collect feedback during dev and publishing teams and evaluate projects ahead of release. Sonic Superstars is among the titles that was cited. So if you look right here, they talked about some of their games, and one of the big things they talked about was the Metacritic score. So it's important for them that the game is actually received well by critics, and they also talked about the user score. They want to improve the development process and capabilities for their games. They said global inline process will establish a system that allows development team and publishing team to have healthy discussions with global members based on marketability. They will have enhancement in the evaluation process, so they'll establish a team within the company that can objectively test and evaluate work in products that are in process. In addition to external testing organization, both Japan and European studios have established a system to evaluate and provide feedback on games under development at each milestone, and the utilization of user feedback and activity data will be important for content development. Long story short, they want to get high Metacritic scores, and they're going to be investing more into their development and their feedback testing system. The craziest part about all of this is that they actually did do something something similar to this with Sonic Frontiers. Obviously proved to be a massive success for them because Frontiers is one of the highest selling 3D Sonic games of all time. But you'll notice that a lot of leaks came out about this game, and that's because people actually did the external playtesting. Sonic Frontiers was supposed to release in 2021. And fast forward to the end of 2022, the game obviously got delayed, as you all know. The game is still what some people would consider to be extremely unpolished. So imagine they hadn't done any external feedback testing or anything like that for the game, and they just rushed it out to release in 2021. It's possible that Sonic Frontiers may have been received worse than Sonic 06. So Sonic Frontiers was really a game that saved the franchise, and Takashi Iizuka delaying the game for a year probably proved to be extremely beneficial. Now that they have the track record and proof that the Sonic franchise is viable and worth investing into, I would imagine that the next mainline Sonic game, they're going to do the same thing they did for Frontiers, but increase the budget, increase development time, and get more external and internal feedback on the game and try to make it as good as possible. They want to get high Metacritic scores. It's been revealed in their investor meetings. But here's the big news. So Midori said the current plan at Sega is to make Like a Dragon, Persona, and Sonic annual franchises through new titles, remakes, remasters, DLC expansions, and other media, and I think this is unannounced information. She said, but it does not mean the new numbered Persona titles are releasing each year. Spin-offs are counted as new titles. So she's talking about Persona particularly, but this is obviously a Sonic channel. Someone asked if annual as in all of them releasing once a year or annual as in alternating between the three, and she said that there will be new content for each IP every year. So this is massive news. Sega has basically come out and confirmed that Sonic is going to be an annual IP franchise. So they're going to be releasing games every year, and in particular, we'll probably see a lot more remasters and stuff like that, and maybe some more DLC, something along the lines of the Sonic Frontiers 1, 2, and 3 DLCs, which were really good and really beneficial for the game. But you might be wondering, you know, since they're releasing games every single year, well, which by the way, this is great news for me as a content creator. We'll never run out of videos to make. But anyway, since they're making games every single year, is that going to affect the quality of games? Well, Midori touched on this as well, and this is actually really promising news. So this person says, I have good hopes for this. It's not release a big game every year like in the 2000s. It's a bunch of smaller games, remakes, and remasters, and other media to fill the void between the big titles. I hope it works out. Midori then said that this is correct information, and most upcoming and unannounced Atlas and Sega projects entered development a few years ago. And I'll get to my point in a second, but I need to read this tweet as well. So Sonic Stadium was talking about Sonic Rumble and its development, and Midori also said that this title is developed by Division 4 with supervision by Sonic Team staff through Sonic Pillar. And this person said, huh? So Sonic Team seems to be back on being involved with the series more than Sega themselves, which is good, to be honest. So Midori said yes, and Sonic Team is supervising multiple upcoming Sonic projects right now. So multiple projects are being supervised at the moment. Someone said, as far as I know, Sonic Team is not a small single team, but multiple divisions of the same group with lots of members working not only on multiple Sonic projects, but many others like Puyo Puyo. Am I right? And Midori said, Sonic Team is Division 2, but there is Sonic Pillar too. Sonic Pillar hosts meetings on current Sonic IP projects and reviews short, medium, and long-term IP plans. Sonic Rumble is a midterm project for the Sonic IP. So someone said, does Sonic Pillar affect or ensure the quality of the product? Midori said yes, and Sonic Pillar sometimes supports playtests at Sega and other groups, and said it is now confirmed now after the investor meeting. The new Sonic Pillar is a team formed at Sega staff from all major regions. Sega staff from multiple regions are now more directly involved in the development of Sonic titles, and this is unannounced information. Midori also said Sega plans development of titles with estimated Metascore as a focus, and someone said, does this mean they have a set Metascore target internally? And she said that this is correct information. Last but not least, someone said, can you say whether quality control is going to be a priority for the annual release strategy? And Midori said quality management is a main priority for the main Sega group IPs. So to make a long story short, there's basically a new team that has a lot more staff and a lot more members to ensure the quality of future Sonic games. So they're also going to be doing a lot of outsourcing with Sonic Team kind of overseeing. So if you're worried about the quality of these games, well, one, they've invested more resources and they've invested more people monitoring these games, but they're also outsourcing. So they're going to be able to keep up the quality with the main Sonic Team kind of working on the mainline project while outsourcing different studios for different projects, which multiple seem to be in development. If you look at this year, we're getting Sonic Rumble as a game. It's going to be pretty big, and we're also going to be getting Sonic and Shadow Generation. And this game is basically a remaster and also somewhat of like a mainline title or spin-off or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be like mainline quality, I feel like, later this year. So to me, we've never been more back as Sonic fans, and there's a lot of reason to be extremely optimistic about the future of the franchise. The more investment in Sonic, the better for Sonic fans, is what I have to say. So this is great news for us, and let me know what you guys think about all this down below in the comments.